you, all of you, for partaking in a little bit of this ritual. I think, sometimes, especially as Unitarian Universalists, things like that can seem a little like silly or trite or simplistic. And, I still have many years to live, but from the ones I have lived, it is actually oftentimes the simple things that can really make a big difference in our lives and how we live them. As we know, when we have respiratory problems and can't sleep, the basics really are quite crucial. All right. Yes.
I'd like to just add a comment here.
Yeah.
Years ago, back in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
when I first joined Unitarian Church,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've been there a year or whatever, but anyway, I went to visit someone in Ohio, Dayton,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was. And the relationship wasn't going that well,
Mm-hmm.
so I went to church the next day,
Yeah.
Unitarian Church down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened there
Mm.
was what happened here,
Hmm.
but with different. They had a casket up front, only,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you put those things you wanted
Huh.
to get rid of,
Cool.
and that was
Yeah.
rolled out of the sanctuary to the back.
Yeah.
And what was put up front was like a bassinet for what you wanted to have with you. And I took that back to my church in Rhode Island,
Yeah.
and we started doing that.
Mm.
We started doing it there.
That is so powerful.
But it was
Thank
like,
you.
I know where she's going with this. I've experienced it already,
Mhm.
just a different.
Yep. Yeah, so let's
And it
all
was
take that powerful
you.
image. Yeah, what we want to be throwing in the proverbial coffin. And what's in that bassinet that we really need to nurture and that we want to grow that vision or that hope or maybe something that we're already involved in, right? That we just want to be investing in. Let's take that vision into the new year, and I'm gonna just reflect really quickly on another image, on another story that I'm hoping might be helpful for us. Now, I'm going to be talking about a god, but it's a Roman god, and I know that some of us Unitarian Universalists have no gods or goddesses. Some of us are just not quite sure, right? Some have one or three, and some have just a whole lot of them. So I'm guessing that no one here abides strictly to Roman or Greek mythology. But I thought we could maybe see if there's anything we might glean from the Roman god Janus. Now, many Roman gods or goddesses end up having Greek counterparts, but Janus, Roman god of time, doorways, and transitions, did not. He is a uniquely Roman god and is often depicted with two faces looking in opposite directions to symbolize looking at both the past and the future. Now, many scholars have thought that Janus could even be qualified as the most important Roman god, as he was the primordial god in Roman mythology, the first god present there at the beginning of everything. Now, Janus also was important as he signified the beginning and ending of war and peace. So I thought today he was especially important to invoke as we are really hoping he is not marking us going deeper into war now. And that by looking both back and forward, as Janus does, we might be guided by the wisdom of past and future and do all within our power to deepen and broaden peace here and wherever we can. Now, in religious and spiritual community, we so often look at both the ethics that we are living out in our community, in our politics, and we also look inwards at our internal you all have, that we have had overtly political overtones already this morning, and that you all know that these internal processes that we have so deeply affect how we live out in the world, and our ethics, and in our politics. And so, this brings me to another reason, both communal and internal, as to why Janus feels important to talk about. So January 1st was actually traditionally the day that Janus was celebrated. He was honored at the beginning of every month to mark the transition, but January 1st was his big celebration day of the year. The Romans believed so deeply in beginnings that the beginning of something was the omen for the entirety, for the whole year, for the whole month, for the whole whatever it was we're encapsulating. Now, perhaps some of us believe this is true too. Even though we wouldn't quite use those words, we do know that how we start something really does matter a great deal. And so the ancient Romans would use this Janus Day on January 1st to start their year off right. I thought this was so beautiful. On January 1st, everyone would give a small token, gifts to other people, just to show they cared and to spread good tidings. And they would also do just a little bit of work on January 1st to get into that good habit too. It spawns us to think about, how are we starting things? What are the behaviors that we are doing at the beginning of this year, that we are hoping might become habits for the rest of it? Now, the most intriguing part of Janus's importance in the lives of the ancient Romans to me was this, from a religious standpoint. At the beginning of every service or ritual in the lives of the Romans, Janus was invoked first, before anything else happened. Janus was invited into the space because he was the god of beginnings and the god of time. So even if someone was worshiping another god, they would need to invoke and pray to Janus first, as a sort of permission and as an honoring time. Now, this was true not only of public and communal services or rituals, whenever a larger service was happening, but also in private prayer. Now, this was so amazing to me because it is such a deep honoring of time, of each moment, of just calling us to recognize that we are existing in a temporal world, and we are being present. We are being conscious of our time and how we steward it. We are being conscious of the beginning and of the end. To acknowledge beginnings and endings, transitions and moments with such intentionality, I think would change our relationship to our days and to our time. So I leave us to ponder as we consider this story of Janus and his importance for Romans in the ancient world, is how might we build in little rituals to our own day, ones that might increase our own awareness and our own intentionality. It might be as simple as intentionally reflecting while we're brushing our teeth, or contemplating what we're grateful for before we eat. I invite us to start small, because that's usually the best way to begin. Start with small, easy rituals that mark our time, and that maybe set our intentions, remind us of those visions and those goals we hold so deeply. So what might we all do to be mindful of each moment and be more present in each moment? We all just take a moment to think about something we might want to be starting to do this year. Or maybe it's something we've already started this year.
Build in moments for meditation.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Build in moments for meditation.
I think it's a good technique is to think about, of course this is a self-help technique, but that's what a lot of resolutions are about. It's a good technique to think about your future self.
Yeah.
And what you you don't consider your present self to be perfect, which I don't. What
Yeah,
you would
and we
like
see
your
that in
future
Janus too,
self to
right?
be in 5 years or 10 years or whatever,
Yeah.
which can have a dramatic influence on what you do right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Send loving kindness to friends
Yeah.
and
Any other intentions you all want to share in just a few words?
remove clutter.
Remove clutter. Yeah.
Get settled, wherever that is.
Yeah. There's a quote I love that says, "Wherever life plants you, bloom with grace." And usually we need to settle and sink into that soil a bit before we can bloom. So I invite you just the rest of today as you're walking around in the snow or hiding in the warmth from the snow, to just be thinking about what you want to be nurturing in 2020 and what little things you can be doing in your life to be more intentional, to be more aware, and to really make that happen. Our deep humanist roots in Unitarian Universalism believe so deeply in the power of humans, and we know that that power is ours to unleash and also ours to support and nurture in one another. So I pray that we might make that so, and I invite you to join me in the closing song we were singing a bit before. The words are just, "Let the life I lead speak for me. When I'm lying in my grave and there's nothing more to say, let the life I lead speak for me." The song has always been very both grounding and centering and